The Denver Broncos just delivered a statement win, one that perfectly reinforces what Sean Payton has been saying since the start of the season: this team is built differently. The culture in Denver is shifting, and for the first time in a long time, you can feel it. The energy, the commitment, the belief, it's all coming together. And before we dive deeper into this unbelievable moment in Broncos history, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. This season is only getting crazier, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Now, what happened last night is something you could follow the NFL your entire life and almost never witness. The Indianapolis Colts, a team still fighting for a playoff spot with a real chance to win their division, reached out to Denver's third-string quarterback. A playoff-bound team wanted him to come compete for a starting job. And he said no. That doesn't happen. Not in this league. Not ever. A quarterback with a path to immediate playing time, turning down a starting opportunity on a potential postseason roster? That tells you everything about what's being built in Denver. Players can say whatever they want publicly, but their actions are what reveal the truth. And this decision speaks louder than any microphone ever could. Sam Ehlinger chose to stay in Denver, to stay with Sean Payton, to stay with a locker room that believes in itself. He'd rather remain here, where he likely won't see the field, than chase a starting job somewhere else. That is culture. That is buy-in. That is the mark of a team on the rise. Ehlinger would have been entitled to a Super Bowl ring if the Broncos make that run. He's been activated, he's earned game checks, he's invested. And to him, that opportunity means more than a temporary gig on another roster. He chose Denver's long-term vision over a short-term spotlight. Meanwhile, earlier this season, Colts head coach Shane Steichen was a front-runner for Coach of the Year. Yet players are choosing Denver over everything that seems logical on paper. That alone shows how dramatically things have shifted under Sean Payton. This doesn't happen in the NFL. Not at this stage of the season. Not when a player knows he has almost zero chance of touching the field. And yet, here we are, witnessing something rare, something powerful, something that proves Denver is building something real. Ehlinger even passed on over $1.7 million he could have earned earlier in the year by joining a 53-man roster. And now, with the chance to join a playoff contender, he still believes staying in Denver is the right move. That tells you everything. Denver's momentum keeps building, and it's impossible not to get excited. Around the league, analysts keep talking about how unstoppable Micah Parsons is, how he destroys game plans, how offenses crumble under his pressure. But here in Denver, something special is happening, something the national media hasn't fully woken up to yet. Nick Bonitto is delivering nearly the same level of production, and the Broncos are getting it at a fraction of the cost. While other teams are paying superstar prices, Denver is watching a homegrown, high-character pass rusher dominate week after week, with the kind of attitude every coach dreams of. Vance Joseph even said that if Bonitto cared about chasing stats, he could easily double his sack numbers. That tells you everything about the type of player he is: selfless, committed, and locked in on helping this defense thrive. There was even a moment caught on the sideline where Bonitto was telling a teammate how he could set him up for a sack on the next play. That's not just talent. That's leadership. That's culture. And that's why following this Broncos team feels different. They're not just winning games, they're building something real, something tough, something united. And speaking of momentum, the Broncos are getting major good news on the injury front. A post circulating online pointed out, sarcastically, of course, how Denver's injury report is incredibly short. Meanwhile, Green Bay's list keeps growing by the day. And while no one celebrates injuries, the reality is simple: this game could shape the AFC playoff picture. A win gives Denver a firm grip on a playoff spot, and it could push the Chargers closer to elimination. The biggest storyline? Josh Jacobs. For years, he's been a nightmare for Denver, undefeated against the Broncos, always finding ways to take over games. But now, for the first time in a long time, the matchup feels different. The Broncos' defense is built to counter the Packers' receivers. Their star tight end is already out for the season, and this game might come down to stopping the run. Jacobs has been incredible all year, but last week he started feeling knee tightness against the Bears. He's now missed multiple practices, and even in his interviews, you can hear the uncertainty in his voice. The Packers coaching staff is calling it day-to-day, but there's no question, they're worried. Of course, Denver will prepare as if he's playing. You always prepare for the best version of a great running back. But all signs point to a major opportunity. If the Broncos control the trenches, if they stop the run early, if they force Green Bay to abandon their rhythm, Denver can take this game over and never look back. This team believes. This city believes. And more than anything, the culture is proving itself every single week. The Broncos won't take any chances when preparing for this matchup. Even if Josh Jacobs misses practice, Denver has to be ready for the possibility that he suits up. We've seen this before. Just last week, Max Crosby barely practiced, yet still hit the field and made an impact. That's how star players operate. When the bright lights come on, when the stakes feel big, these guys find a way to be out there. But if Denver ends up facing the Packers without Jacobs, that could completely shift the momentum. With the culture this team has built and the confidence they're playing with, that absence could be a major advantage. Meanwhile, Vance Joseph echoed what Sean Payton said earlier: crowd noise is about to become one of Denver's greatest weapons. The Broncos are hunting down the NFL sack record, and when opposing offenses can't hear the snap count, it changes everything. At home, offensive linemen know the timing. On the road, with the stadium shaking, they're guessing. And when they guess wrong, Denver's edge rushers explode off the line untouched. So to every fan heading to Mile High this weekend, make noise like the season depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. The pass rush is getting healthier and hotter. Jonah Ellis was outstanding against the Raiders, and now he's had a full week of practice to build on that performance. This group is growing more dangerous by the day. And the secondary? It's leveling up as well. Riley Moss has made real adjustments to clean up the pass interference issues that hurt him earlier in the year. He even practiced with boxing gloves to stop himself from grabbing receivers, a small change with a huge impact. But the bigger difference is his role. With Patrick Surtain locking down the top option, Moss can focus on being a true CB2, which fits his strengths perfectly. Together, these two might be forming the best cornerback duo in the league. Their chemistry, their discipline, their confidence, it's all coming together at the right time. Denver also pulled off another crafty roster move, one you only see from a team with elite front office power and ownership support. Sean Payton released Marcedes Lewis from the active roster, which signals that Nate Atkins is ready to return this Sunday. And the expectation is that Lewis will rejoin the practice squad right away. It's a small move, but it shows how Payton keeps reshaping this roster with precision and purpose. The Broncos are getting healthier, smarter, and stronger, and they're doing it right when the playoff race is tightening. The Broncos continue to show just how committed they are to building depth and stability. Marcedes Lewis could sign with any practice squad in the NFL, but Denver wants him here, because of his leadership, his professionalism, and his value as insurance if anything happens to the tight end room. Moves like this don't happen everywhere. When you elevate a veteran to the active roster and later move him back to the practice squad, it takes real financial power to make it work. And thanks to the Walton Penner ownership group, the Broncos have the resources to pull off these roster gymnastics without hesitation. Most teams don't operate like this. You rarely see this kind of strategic shuffling, promotions, waivers, re-signings, executed with this level of flexibility. But Denver keeps finding ways to maximize every inch of the roster. More good news comes from the practice field. Ben Powers logged back-to-back full practices, and every report says he looks outstanding. DJ Jones was out there again as well, which is huge for Denver's ability to stop the run, whether the opponent is at full strength or relying on backups. With Jones in the trenches, the Broncos should feel confident in their ability to shut down any ground attack. The one setback is wide receiver Pat Bryant, who continues to deal with a hamstring injury that surfaced late last week. He still managed to play against the Raiders, so there's hope, but 2 missed practices in a row brings uncertainty. It's a tough loss, especially with how explosive Bryant has been. But even here, there's a silver lining. Elijah Moore has stepped up in a big way in recent practices. Once considered a borderline roster player due to Denver's depth, he now has a clear path to meaningful snaps. Moore brings elite quickness, polished route running, and valuable experience from his time with the Jets and Browns. With Bo Nix delivering the most accurate quarterback play Moore has ever worked with, his potential impact in this offense is huge. His high school connection to Nick Bonitto, his early football days alongside Patrick Surtain too, and his off-season workouts with Cortland Sutton all show how naturally he fits into the locker room. He's older, but still dynamic with the ball in his hands, able to make defenders miss and turn routine plays into explosive ones. Just imagine what defenses have to prepare for: Elijah Moore's shiftiness, Marvin Mims' blazing speed, Cortland Sutton's dominance at the catch point, Troy Franklin developing into a dangerous weapon, and Evan Engram becoming more involved every week under Sean Payton's scheme. This offense is building something special, layered, versatile, and full of players who can break a game open at any moment. Everything is coming together. You can feel it. The Broncos are gearing up for a playoff run that could be one of the most memorable in years. And while analysts and experts keep picking against Denver, the signs tell a very different story. Field Yates released his first mock draft, and you have to scroll all the way to the end, all the way to pick number 32, before you see Denver's name. That means one thing: he projects the Broncos to finish on top of the NFL. That's a Super Bowl prediction. That's confidence in the direction this team is heading. And honestly, it doesn't feel far-fetched. This is the most exciting moment Broncos fans have experienced in a long time. When a quarterback turns down a starting opportunity elsewhere just to stay in Denver, that speaks volumes. Players want to be here. They want to play for this coaching staff. They want to play with Bo Nix. That tells you the culture is real. This team has belief, fire, unity, and momentum. Everything a contender needs. Denver has a lot left to prove, but the potential is massive. The talent is real. The culture is strong. And the future? It's bright, brighter than it has been in years.